Check one, check.
Are you booming with zooming events, resources, and updates?
Remember, you're listening to only the best internet radio station in the world.
You're listening to KRC Roadrunner Radio Podcast.
Watch out, man. Listen to what's going down virtually on campus. And here's your host. It's Albert Lopez.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So listen, connect, express.
Yeah, this is Al Beats. You're listening to KRC Roadrunner Radio. Welcome back. How are y'all doing this week? Today's episode seems like it's going to be a fun one. Right now, you're listening to Less Than Jake, Short Fuse Burning. And guess what? Our special guest is named Jake Ortiz. We're going to be talking about concerts, candles, gaming, escape rooms, and my favorite, UFOs. And as always, we will provide you with upcoming AS events. And for the first time, I'm so happy, we have an art submission. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Okay, no, we'll get it done. Ready? All right, here we go. And we're back, roadies. Here we... Wait, hold on. All right, here we go. Take 4. We're back. Roadies here with me, co-hosting this.
Hi, it's Nadia, back at it again. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. And Gracie.
Hi, everyone. It's been a while. Glad to be back.
I have to say, every time I say or hear our special guest name, I think of that band, which is one of my favorites. Speaking of which, let's meet our special guest, Jake. Welcome to our show, and how are you doing?
Hello there. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. Excited to hang out, have a good time.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am currently in my second year in a graduate counseling program at CSU Northridge. Prior to that, I went to UC Irvine, so I'm happy to talk about some of those classes I took while I was there, some crazy courses. Other than that, though, I worked at a movie theater for a couple years, had some fun experiences there. Yeah, that's me.
Cool. So now I know we kind of discussed a little briefly about what we were going to talk about. So you mentioned that you actually attended concerts. Can you tell us a little bit more, like what concerts you have attended?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of attending concerts. Honestly, it doesn't take much to convince me to go to a concert. I have been to all sorts of different stuff, from AC/DC to Tool. I'm seeing Albert's face on the Zoom call. Everyone else on the podcast doesn't get to see this, but I get to see Albert all stoked about this.
AC/DC.
Yeah. Some more like recent shows I've been to, I got to see Joji, who's a pretty popular artist. Deadmau5. Yeah, I don't know. I like going to all sorts of different stuff.
Has anyone from the crew actually attended any concerts?
I attended a Panic at the Disco concert. I love Panic at the Disco. Brendan Urie's such a good singer.
Brendan Urie's amazing.
Yes, right?
I agree. Definitely agree.
I have so many favorite songs from him. I like If You Love Me, Let Me Go. That's a really good song. That's a very good song.
Man, that's so cool. You guys have been to concerts. I'm not sure if I'm the only one that hasn't. But in the future, I do look forward to attending a concert. It's on my bucket list.
That's a good one on the bucket list. I've been to a Tony Bennett concert. That was fun.
Nice.
Tony Bennett of all concerts.
Oh, please.
He's so bad.
There's nothing wrong with that. Actually, I've been to a couple of concerts. One of my first ones was Slipknot. I've been to Tattoo the Earth, so it's a combo of a lot of metal bands. So I've got to see Pantera, Vengeful Seven, Mudvayne. I've also been to What other concerts have I been to? Gosh, so I went to a Blink 182 concert, which was one of my favorites actually. Great
Nice.
show, great show.
That's so cool.
I've actually seen Marilyn Manson. What else? Ozzy Osbourne. I've been to yeah. And some of these concerts were one of those large venues where they have multiple bands playing. But yeah, I've really actually that was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring up concerts, because I've had really great experiences going to concerts. I mean, there are times where you got your mosh pits, things can get brutal.
Yeah.
So yeah. So and then I think go ahead, Jake.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, yeah, mosh pits are always fun. For the most part, I've had good experiences. Everyone in there has been pretty nice and like picks people up. There've been plenty of times I've gotten like completely knocked down on the ground, and then people are always just like, "Oh my goodness, are you okay?" So it's been nothing but like amazing, kind experiences. One time I stage dived at a show, and then I got kind of pushed towards like the edge of the crowd, and I was preparing myself to fall, and then this dude just scoops me up like midair basically and puts me down safely. I felt so like taken care of. I was like, wow, I was so honored.
There's some I wanted to bring up some pros and cons. Now let me ask you this, Jake, since you've been like crowd surfing and stuff like that. Do you prefer like standing room type of concerts, or do you like it when you have like the option to reserve a seating section?
Personally, I like the standing room concerts, just because things can get a little bit more rowdy. People can run around and push and shove and all that stuff. It's a little bit harder to do that with like seated concerts, but I have been to some like fantastic seated shows. When I saw Tool, I had reserved seating. I saw Arctic Monkeys with reserved seating at the Hollywood Bowl. That show was awesome. So I think, I don't know, it kind of depends on the energy of the show and kind of what you're looking to get out of the experience. But if I had to choose, I'd probably choose like general audience, like standing room.
Yeah, that's the reason why I bring this up, because again, as you stated, it's generally what you want to get out of the show. And for me, I love lights. As you can see, I've decorated my desk with lights. But one of my things when attending a concert is not just to hear the music, because obviously I can hear the music at home, but to actually see the performers and watch the performance. And I think one of the disadvantages I have is being short, because when you're at the standing, like, when you're in the mosh pit or in that middle area, like all I get to see is people's backs, because I'm short. I'm like so short. So it's like, man, this isn't fair. I love seating. I love the seating, reserved seating, because I'm able to view from my location, like the stage and how the performer performs. So I don't know. Anybody else have any experiences they would like to share about concerts?
Yeah, I've been to a Five Sauce concert and a Shawn Mendes concert, and that was like the worst experience of my life at a concert, because all you hear is like teen girls going, ah, screaming, oh my gosh, and I'm just like, make it stop, in my head, like, make it stop. And we're all the way up top, and like they're still screaming, and I'm like, oh my god. Like, but it was fun. I mean, just a lot of screaming at concerts, like, because everyone, that's another exciting thing. Like, I think like the performer must be so excited, like when they hear their own song being sang by like other people. I think that's a really exciting moment. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
Yeah,
I can only imagine like how powerful that must feel for those artists, for the performers.
Yeah, how about you, Albert? Any tips going to a concert?
Definitely. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been to a concert lately, but I know like reserving tickets is like, you have to plan ahead and be able to order your tickets before they're all sold out, especially like for bands that are very popular or singing groups. What else? I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I prefer not to go because I've been to Warped Tour, so I don't know if anyone's been to K-Rock's Warped Tour. We've been in location. You've been there? Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
And that's a lot of. Oh, okay. So those are the concerts where they have multiple not venues. How would you say? Stages spread out throughout like the vicinity, and for some reason I don't like them as much, only because it's usually during the day. There's a lot of, like, I heard of Coachella being really hot. There's a lot of dirt being kicked. There's like cans of beers all over the place. When I went to Ozfest, I mean, that was pretty cool though, because people started burning down like, the venue, like the little
Oh my
the
gosh.
I was gonna
vendors.
say the venue, and I was like, I don't think that's a concert. I think that's
Not the venue, the vendors,
What?
vendors. So they'll like take down the tables and chairs, even like the canopies, and then just light them on fire, and then you'd have crazy people like standing on top of the burning, material there. And but yeah, I mean that, like I said, I had some really interesting experiences. So Jake, just to like cap off this topic, your ultimate experience in concerts, and what would you say was the best performance that you've were able to experience?
That's a tough question. So I've thought about that before. Like, what's the best concert I've ever been to? And I have a few different ones that I'll point out for different reasons. So Tool was probably the best performance wise. Like, it was just amazing watching those dudes up there like do their thing. Deadmau5 was probably my favorite as far as like the audio visual experience. Their stage setup and the way that like that Joel, the artist, like controls this, I don't know, giant stage that has all these moving parts and stuff was really cool and amazing to watch. And then as far as my favorite for like the actual experience, the energy of just being there at a concert was probably with this band Together Pangea, which is like more of like a SoCal band, and they've kind of like gotten more popular over the years. But their shows for the most part are like pretty much a lot of like the same group going out to each of them within the scene. And it's just a lot of fun. Like, everyone's there to have a good time. Everyone's there to push and shove and not hurt each other, but do it lovingly, So
Yeah.
those are probably my top three. That's my opinion.
Nice. And Nadia, your best performance that you've attended?
Panic at the Disco. Like I said, If You Love Me, Let It Go. Like the performance, he just had a piano. Like it looked so simple at first with the light shining. He was just playing the piano right there. Like it was just so awesome. And his voice was just freely, it was just his voice. And like everyone was just so quiet listening to him. And then he gets to a certain part in the music where like just like stuff falls down like confetti. And I just like the song. It's a really touching song too. So you just hear everyone just like listening and just like taking it in. It's really good. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think my favorite of all, I mean, like I said, I've attended so many concerts, but Blink-182 put like probably the best show. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that it was like an anniversary. Blink's 182 is like anniversary. So I drove all the way to San Diego. I rented a car, took a lot of my friends into a Suburban, or it wasn't a Suburban, the Excursion. And yeah, we had a blast. I mean, it was probably the best performance I've ever had. They played a couple of my favorite songs, and just like, dropping like millions, or I wouldn't say millions, but maybe thousands of ping pong balls on stage. Like everything was just rocking. I mean, that was just the best show I've ever had. The lights, the lasers. Yeah. I mean, it just got the crowd was so into it. So that was my favorite. So on to our next topic. I know, Gracie, you still have time. Don't worry. You'll get your experience hopefully someday. I always recommend for anyone in college to go ahead and attend a concert. I think it's just one of those what is it? Bucket list that you have to experience. Yeah. So yeah, Gracie? Anything else?
I don't know. I'm just like, I'm listening to all your stories and I'm just like, dang, it sounds so cool. I'm jealous. I'll admit that. Like, I'm a little jealous, But it's something I very much do look forward to for the future. So yeah, that's it.
Definitely. Well, like I said, I really do hope that you get the opportunity to go check out a concert. So I want to talk about candles. That's something that I thought like just stood out to me. So tell me more about candles in your life, Jake.
All right. So candles entered into my life in the middle of last semester. There was a sale going on at what was it, Bath and Body Works, I think. And my friend calls me and is trying to like talk to me through like buying candles. And she was like, "Oh, like what do you want?" And I'm like trying to tell her like, "Okay, obviously I can't, be there to smell the candles since I'm over the phone, so you got to be my nose for me." And I'm asking her to tell me like, what these candles smell like and stuff. And then I notice I'm unmuted in my Zoom call for class because I was in class at the time. And so I apologized profusely to my professor, and she just laughed and she was like, "No, I want to know what candles you end up getting." So I ended up getting a few different ones. I got one called Sweater Weather because of the song by The Neighborhood. I was like, gotta try it. This one was gifted to me, but I got Marshmallow Fireside. That one's beautiful. It smells so good. It's so sweet. And then I got another one. Let me see which this one's called. Cedarwood and Vanilla. That one's just, pretty much a descriptor of the smell. And then one of the cooler ones that I have was one that my sister gave me. It's called Pirate Life, and it's from this group that makes candles based off of Disney rides. So this one's supposed to smell like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland in Anaheim.
Oh, that's cool.
That's neat.
Yeah. But I don't know. I recommend candles. I think they make studying a lot nicer. And I light different ones based on like if I'm studying or if I'm just like relaxing in my room. I feel like all the time we're using all of our other senses, sight, hearing, taste when we eat, all that stuff. We got to continue to take care of our sense of smell too. I feel like that's the one that at least I've neglected the most. So now I'm taking advantage of it. Now I'm smelling delicious candles and stuff.
I was going to
That's
say,
so
you
great.
tasted candles before because you said delicious.
Oh, I think things can smell delicious, I have not eaten candles though, just to answer that. I don't recommend it.
So I'm hearing the theme then, because I also like to collect candles. I haven't collected any in such a long time because they're super expensive. I recall having a conversation with Nadia about what's up with the candles, right? And I think for me, it's just like that soothing, like the ambience of like the light, and again, I prefer scented candles. So that's something that I was going to ask you, Jake. Was it something that you were primarily looking for? Is just the ambience of the lighting, or was it a combination of the lighting and I guess based on what you just stated that you said we should take care of our scent, so our sense of smell, and so yeah, definitely appreciate that, right? So that's what I usually gravitate to, is like the scented candles more than just the looks of it. But yeah, anything? I think Nadia or Gracie wanted to say something about it.
The candles?
Yes.
Oh yeah, candles. Like, I think, you know what? Because you know how some candles you could put the lid on and it stops the fire?
Yeah.
So I do have a story if you don't mind me telling you guys.
Yeah.
So there was a nice
Please do.
candle I bought for my boyfriend for Christmas, and it was wood. I'm like, oh my god, like this wood, I could put it on top of the candle and it's gonna like put out the fire. And I was like, this is so cool. I never heard of this wood. Like, this candle's awesome. It smells good. And like, I wanted to try it before I gave it to him as a Christmas present. So I put it on top and I'm like, it smells like it's burning. There's a big burn.
No.
And I was like, oh my god, I'm destroying his dreams of candles.
Oh my god.
But I think candles are like nice, especially like when you buy them for like small businesses, like the work they put into it, especially like the logos and stuff. Like, I think it's nice, but I never thought about like how we have to like our senses and stuff. Like, now you put it, it's a good way to put candles, to be honest, because we don't really use our senses due to have a point, and giving like, especially the air right now, like the candles like sound soothing.
Yeah, I
That's so
definitely
true.
agree.
So just really quick, because you mentioned, we should start using like our sense of smell, and because we always neglect it. And the biggest thing with me is our sense. I have a really big issue when it comes to scents and the way things smell. And for a really long time, I had like a fascination with candles. And every time me and my mom go to Bath and Body, I'm always trying to get her to buy candles because I want them, and I'm trying to make my own collection of them. And so Sweater Weather was actually one of them that I've been wanting to buy. The cedarwood, I smelled it once and it kind of threw me off because it was really strong. But yeah, I think my little story is that one time me, my mom, and my brother, we went somewhere and we were able to actually see the making of candles, like candle making process. And it's actually pretty interesting because they kind of have like a long stick and they tie a little string to it and dip it into like this liquid, and then it hardens when it comes up. So it was pretty interesting, and like they continuously do it to make the candle thicker. So that was pretty fun.
Have you ever put your hands in the wax of the candle?
No, but I want to. I want to do
fun.
that.
I'm sorry I had to say that. Yeah, it's fun though. It's like, ooh.
Want to do
if
that. That's okay.
if any of you ever get like some kind of injury, usually with your hands, when I broke my finger, I went to an occupational therapist, and they actually have like a melted wax machine, and you dip your whole hand in there, and then they pull your hand out, and your whole hand's covered in wax, and then they cover it in a warm piece of cloth, and it just stands there, and then after a while they peel it. I don't know what kind of therapeutic factor it plays a role in like healing my broken finger. But I thought that was very like having your hands in wax. I don't know, it felt so relaxing and soothing, and yeah, I just enjoyed it. So when you mentioned that,
Probably
Nadia,
a
like
nerve
putting your
thing.
finger in wax,
Yeah.
probably, I don't know, but I know like Gracie might get into a career in something like that.
I'm
So
debating between occupational and physical therapy.
Cool.
I'm like flipping back
Yeah.
and forth. They're both so interesting, dude.
yeah.
Ugh.
So yeah, I mean that was my experience with dipping my hands in wax. But
Sounds
yeah,
neat.
I don't know if I had any experiences
Did
other
it smell
than
like anything?
there were.
Our
No, it
sense
was
of
just that
touch.
it was just a plain white wax. It was just regular, just wax, and I'm not sure what kind of wax. Paraffin, I think paraffin wax. Paraffin. I don't know if that's pronounced correctly.
Perfect.
Oh,
I have no idea.
Paraffin. Okay, never mind.
something like that. We just know something like that.
Yeah.
Something
just
like
know.
that. So, well, thanks, Jake, for sharing your story
Candles.
about candles. I hope that we can continue with that kind of topic one day, because I know that I got a candle from one of our programs at CSUN, and I light that once in a while. So I think what I have currently, I have. Oh shoot! Sorry, Coastal Breeze.
Oh, that one's a nice one.
Mm.
It's
I know what event you're talking about too. I gave my candle to my sister.
Oh, did you?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Well, you have so many in your room, so
I do. I had plenty. I was like, here,
Yeah.
you can have this one.
All right. So, Nadia, is there anything that you wanted to bring up?
Yes, gaming. So I have questions for you, Jake,
Yeah.
about gaming. Well, lots of questions actually.
Ask away.
So, do you like PC, Xbox, or PS playing?
I am a PC gamer.
What? Oh, like
Playing Xbox. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh, so you sorry, you play on PC?
I do. Yes.
So like you're good. Like you know how to use the whole computer and everything?
I'm good. Yeah. I built my computer actually, and like basically watched like a whole bunch of tutorials on how to do it. Linus Tech Tips was a really helpful channel. There's a YouTuber named Bitwit who makes really good content about like actually putting the computer together. And it took a lot of like research to figure out what parts to buy, what works together. But there's so many resources online for people who are interested in doing it for the first time. I didn't have any knowledge on how to do it ahead of time, like the first time I built my computer.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was a fun skill to learn and pick up.
So how long have you been playing PC for?
I made my computer in 2018, so a little bit over 3 years. But I had like a laptop before that, and I would game on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm using currently, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
I had to upgrade at a point, but yeah, I got started on the laptop.
Good. Like, what games do you play, and like, have you made any friends using that? Like online?
I have, yeah. I don't play anymore, but my friends and I used to play League of Legends, and we made friends with someone from Canada who's actually come out to visit before. Like we met fully online and just started interacting a lot and really got in touch and like got connected through that. So we made that like kind of lifelong friend. Nowadays I play World of Warcraft. I play Clone Hero, which is basically just Guitar Hero, but like a PC version of it.
Oh wow.
And so most of the people I interact with are people that I already know in real life. I use Discord, I use social media like that.
Oh, that.
Yeah, but I've met people here and there online that have been really nice.
So would you prefer, like, you know how we had like the Nintendo Switch, PSP, or do you prefer the technology we have now?
Can you restate your question?
Like, you know how we had like the PSP, Nintendo, like our small little devices and stuff, like how we used to play on Game Boy?
Yeah.
Would you prefer going back to that, or do you like the technology we have for gameplay now, like our PS, our Xboxes and all that?
I mean, the advancement with technology has been insane. it's been so cool to watch the parts that I bought, in 2018, pretty much new, go, out of date by the time that like 2021 rolls around.
I think that's so hard keeping up with like the Xbox and like the new ones. It's just like it gets like so expensive after a while, especially, but like the graphics and everything are always like improving.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it is very expensive to keep up with this. But I don't know. I think this is like the one thing that's kind of keeping me going through the pandemic. So I'm
Yes.
glad that I have it.
Definitely.
It's unique to have this environment to socialize without ever leaving my room, basically,
Yeah. How long do you play every day? Because like I know I have an unhealthy habit of playing, like when I'm not supposed to be playing. But how long do you play every day?
Can I just choose not to answer that one? I don't know. A lot. Yeah, pretty much whenever I'm like not in class or doing homework or eating. Sometimes I eat when I game too.
Yeah, that's a tough one, especially like when I was playing COD and like I was eating at the same time and like everyone's like pay attention and I'm like how am I supposed to pay attention? Because I'm not good at it. Like I'm pretty bad at it and like there's like kids on there that are like really good and I'm like how?
I can relate with you there. I know I've gotten better over the years, but I was definitely like in my friend group at least, and still am like the worst player. Like I'm bad. So I don't know. I don't feel bad when I eat because it's not like I'm being that much better than I usually am anyways.
Yeah. How about you, Albert? Do you have any experience playing games? Video games especially?
Yeah, I was like one of the OGs when what do you call it? Not Atari came out.
Atari. I wasn't even born.
Exactly. Of all people, I'm like the gamer that's kind of like was there at the origin when it first started. I've been playing games since then. Atari was my first console. I've been a console person for the most part. I did play using a PC for a little bit, but I prefer having that control on my hands and as opposed to like playing on the keyboard because I get confused. Sometimes you overreach or you underreach and you're not hitting the buttons like you want to. And so I felt like having a control in your hands was a little easier for me to manage. I've seen some crazy people playing like PC status. So yeah, and then I think I grabbed and ended up evolving into like let's say Nintendo. I played this system called Coleco. I don't know if anyone's heard of
What
that.
about the GameCube? I thought that was so awesome.
I love the GameCube.
My brother had the GameCube. Again, I wasn't really too much into Nintendo games. And then eventually, as the Xbox came out, we've had PlayStation, we've had the Xbox, and then I kind of like just now more focus on the Xbox. I'm a first-person gamer, so I like first-person shooters. But I do play some third persons like Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption. Oh, well, those are my favorite games besides like Battlefield and Black Ops. But yeah, even like majority of our crew members, I don't know if Gracie plays, but I know Priscilla, our PR chair, she's also a gamer. Sometimes we will go online and here she is battling people, trying like I see you, and then she'll go after them. But yeah, that's my experience. I love games. I'm always gonna love games. I don't care how old I get. I'm always gonna be playing games. I'm a kid at heart. So, but yeah, that's my experience. So hopefully I'll get to see y'all play one day once we graduate. By the way, Jake and I are in the same program, so we're both excited about graduating this spring. So
yeah, that's right.
Some gaming time. But yeah,
that's right.
What about you, Gracie? Are you a gamer?
I'm gonna have to say no. The first thing I started, I guess, gaming with was I think the first Game Boy or the second. It was the rectangle one where you can like pop off the cover to it. And I remember we used to have like the Pokemon card things where you slide them in at the bottom. That was the first thing I ever played with. It was pretty fun. I mean, we took it to the stores.
I remember having to like blow on them, like if they got dust in it, you'd be like, and then like you'd have to put it back in. Like that was a struggle.
Yeah. I was told that you're not supposed to do that because then it's like the moisture from your breath can not infect, but I guess damage the slot.
I didn't even know that.
I've heard
I guess
that
when
too,
you're little, yeah.
I was just gonna say honestly, blowing on the cartridge worked for whatever reason.
It did.
Who knows?
I don't know what it was, but it always worked.
The cartridge, yeah.
Yeah, I never knew what it was called. I'm just like that slot thing, the part that you just input into the device. It's a rectangle. It's small. You can still input it into like the DS. That bottom part.
Then you could take pictures of the DS. That was fun.
You can. I think that's like with the upgraded DS though. I have the DS Lite, and so those you can't take pictures with. So, I don't really play on any consoles. I used to play with my brother back in the day with the very first Xbox. And I mean, I played Sonic. That was about it. I'm really bad at at games. Yeah, even my brother doesn't want to play with me because if anything, if I do play with people, I'm the bait.
Yeah, it's okay. My brother yells at me, and I got told I'm not on someone's level.
Oh, that reminds me, like, the type of gamer are you? I know that when I play my first-person shooters, oh my gosh, I'm yelling like through my top of my lungs, and I'm like I get so into the games, especially my first-person shooter games. Like, I'm using military code.
Dang.
I'm telling my teammate, oh, flank the left.
That's what my brother does to me, and we're always like, oh man.
You're like, what do you mean, flank?
I'm like, I did. And he's like, no, you didn't. And I'm like, yes, I did.
I'm like, oh, that was pretty. Oh, look at that one. You're like,
get into Delta formation.
And then I'm like, what is Delta formation? You didn't explain it right. You didn't listen right.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I was
man.
like, build the trenches.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the future of gaming. One of my bucket list goals is to go check out E3, one of those
Yeah.
what is
know
it
what that
called?
is.
Like a convention? Yeah, definitely.
Explain
That would be a
for
big
like
one.
the
I would love
non-gamers
that.
out there.
E3 is just like a convention for all like the new computer like software
Like, they
games and
introduced
stuff
the
like that.
game, so the
Yeah.
new ones like Halo. I remember when Halo. I loved that game. Too bad they haven't made
Oh.
another
Big
one.
Halo.
Yeah.
I still play Halo.
Oh my gosh, that game is just wonderful. Injustice 2, I like that game too. And Marvel vs. Capcom.
Oh, nice. Some fighter games.
Yeah, those are good games. Those are my favorite games, I would say. Because I'm actually good at them.
Now I'm thinking about favorite games. I think for me, definitely like Halo 3 is one of those. And they re-released it as part of like a kind of collection of like all the Halo games, so people can still like play it, even though it came out in like 2007, I think.
Yep.
So I play Halo 3. Play Kingdom Hearts was a big one. I was a big fan of that one, and still am. But I mean, they release a game like once every 13 years or something like that. It's kind of ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
It's kind of sad. That could be like a really good update.
Yeah. It depends.
This last one wasn't great. There's
The
mixed
last one
feelings.
wasn't great.
No.
All right. And so on one of our other topics that I just want to kind of briefly go over is escape rooms. I know you've been really interested in escape rooms, that you brought it up when I don't know if it was in our orientation or first year of our grad program, but I recall, Jake, that you were talking about escape rooms, that we should create one. And that's something that I thought about when I actually attended one of my first escape room experiences, was to try to design one for the community college so that students get an opportunity to get an experience of what an escape room is like. So tell us a little bit more about your experiences or your thoughts on escape rooms.
Oh, okay. I'm a big fan of escape rooms. I've done a few throughout like Southern California. I did most of the puzzles at this place called The Basement, which is I'm trying to remember where it's at now. I can't recall off the top of my head, but those, like the puzzles there, the way that it's set up is fantastic. They have some of the like better rooms that I've been in. But basically, for those who don't know what an escape room is, the concept is pretty straightforward. You either alone or with a group go into a room, and there's a series of puzzles that you have to complete and solve in order to get out of the room. There's different themes. I've done one that was like colonial revolution time theme, and we had to help, I think, Thomas Edison or something save the colonies. I don't remember. that one was cool. I did one at the basement. They're all pretty much like horror themed. So they were like, oh, you're in like the serial killer's basement. You have to get out. And they have a whole story about their serial killer there. So I personally, I'm a big horror fan. I like horror films. So I was super excited about the basement. I was down to be, held captive and then have to escape. But I think the best part about like escape rooms in general is that they bring you together with the people that you're in there with, and you got to work together. You got to solve these puzzles.
So in your experience, then would you say then you actually collaborated with like the public, or was this where did you have some private sessions?
So I think 2 of the rooms that I've done were they mixed my group with another group that like we didn't know ahead of time. And I distinctly remember like one of those experiences was really positive. I had like one of the better escape room experiences of my time, just because like people were willing to work together. But for the most part, it depends on your group size and on the size of the room that like they're offering. So some places will offer like if you have a group of 4, let's say, and the room size is fitted for like 8 people, other people might book to go in at the same time as you. So you're not necessarily like in there with just your group. Of course, some people don't like that. Some people do like that. I'd say, call ahead, figure out what the escape room offers like ahead of time. But yeah, I say, if you have the chance to go in there with a group of strangers, I try it out, see if you like it.
Out of all of the escape rooms that you've attended, were you able to escape all of them, or? I
lost one for sure, and maybe another one. So I've gotten out of a couple of them. I'm trying to think if I have like a number of how many I've done. I did 4 at the basement, and then I think 2 outside of that, so about 7. The basement was the ones that were keeping me stumped. Like there were, I think, 2 times that I went there that I didn't escape, that I died. So I'm coming to you from beyond the grave now.
Was there something about the basement part that like made you feel stuck?
Without giving any details on the puzzles, it's just the puzzles themselves are really tough. They require all sorts of like different types of thinking. So like some of them are kind of like physics puzzles. So you have to manipulate an object in such a way that it opens the lock or something like that. Others are more like code puzzles. So you have to like, look around the room for all the clues that will give you, the secret code to get out. And it kind of depends. But for the ones that I got stuck on at the basement, they were incredibly challenging puzzles. And I had no idea what to do. But other people have gotten out in, super short amount of time. So I think I just wasn't prepared for that one, maybe.
You didn't do a Houdini.
I didn't.
Yeah, they're very challenging. Actually, I went with a group myself. I only went to one escape room somewhere in downtown LA. And it was an awesome experience, but like you're pressured, right? Because I don't know how much time you had to get out of your escape room, but we only had 30 minutes. And yeah, and our time ran out, but we were just screaming at each other like, "Go fix this!" I was just like running around with like a chicken without his head. I was trying to do one puzzle. I was like, "Oh, screw this! I'm gonna go check something else." And then I went try to do something else, and then I was like, "Okay, I accomplished that." But then there were times where I'll be like, "Screw this! I'm gonna go to another one." And so we were just running all over the place. It was really tough trying to coordinate, trying to get out. But it was a scary feeling because I think we did an underground cave where we're like, excavating, and we were like, what do you call those? Archaeologists. And we were trying to figure out all these puzzles to get out and back into our elevator to get back to the top. And we were in a cave, and yeah, we ended up dying, but it was fun though.
I got yelled at. They were like, "Nadia, pay attention." And I was laughing because I was like, I was like, "Oh my God, there's a cat." And they're like, "Pay attention." And I'm like, "I'm tired." I remember like we were almost done, and I was like, "What are we gonna eat after?" My friend's like, "Shh, I'm trying to do something." Like the only reason why I went because like we're gonna go out to eat after, and I was excited, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna be quick," and then I'm like, "Are you guys trying to make me work out?" Like,
What was your theme for your escape room, Nadia?
we're just in a room, and I remember like there was like it was like a library. I remember it was a library type because there was just boxes, and it was full of books and like knickknacks, and like I was like, "What are we like?" I knew it was escape room, but I was like, out of all escape rooms, like you're gonna put us in here. And like they're really like serious about it. It was like because I remember we got the flyer in Santa Monica, and then my friends were like, "Let's go," and I was like, "Oh, I'm really hungry." They're like, "Well, buy you something to eat," and I was like, "Okay." And then
Did they hold up their end of the bargain?
yeah, they did after, but like they're like, "If we go to another one, can you concentrate?" And I was like, "Sure." We did end up going to another one, and like I got in trouble again.
So your group was serious,
Yeah,
not
no,
the
not me,
people
like
hosting it.
well,
Oh,
they were
okay.
laughing kind of like at the end, but like they got really into it because there was like one box, like it was just like we had to reach in there and like there was stuff in there, and I was like, I can't do it, but I'll do it. And then I was like laughing. I was like, it's so cold. They're like, just put your hand in there, and I was like, I'm gonna die. You're gonna die. But yeah, like the people that bought us in there were like serious. They're like, okay, you have this amount of time to escape. If you don't, you die. And like I was laughing, and they're like, what are you laughing at? And I was like, but yeah, I mean, it was fun for me, you know. But my friends were like, we have to do this and this and this, and I'm just like, oh. But yeah, that was fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. So
Um,
like for anybody who's listening, Gracie, did you have an experience? No. Huh?
No, I don't really. Okay, I'm not one to really get out, and that's not by choice. Um, so there's a lot of things that I haven't experienced yet, but then
So
that's a lot to go on my bucket list.
yeah, definitely. That's what I was just gonna say. Put it on your bucket list. I know they can be expensive. I know I spent like $30 per person, so I don't know if that's around about the same amount that it costs. Jake, Nadia, do you
It depends on each room.
it depends on
Like
what
some
room and
are,
the time, I think, because I think some you get to choose the time and the people you have in there.
Okay.
yeah, like
So-
it could be more expensive to book on a Saturday than on like a Wednesday night.
Yeah, and it's like you go
okay.
last minute too.
Yeah, for those of you who are listening, I would say definitely look for coupons. I think that's just going to help out,
Groupon.
especially if you're Groupon. I think that's one of the locations that we were able to use to get a discount on it. So on to the main topic. I love UFOs, so I know that was something that you brought up on your email.
Yeah.
So let me read off something. Okay. Can you still hear me? Okay. So you stated so something about UFOs. Now I was always interested in UFOs since the 1980s. I kind of aged myself. My dad and I were into like the TV shows, where they kind of like unsolved mysteries type of thing.
Yeah.
Ever since then, I was always into UFOs. I really got interested in looking into the crash at Roswell, and also Bob Lazar. I don't know if you've heard of Bob Lazar. He was one of the whistleblowers that first brought up the fact that he was working at a facility in S4, which is a few miles, I think, south of Area 51.
That's so
And so
controversial. Area 51.
yeah, so he was very how do you say? He seemed very credible, but a lot of his credentials were erased, and there were only a few articles that stated that he was working for a university and that he was, hired by the facility to reverse engineer UFO equipment. Anyways, you stated that you like to discuss why cultures or people believe in UFOs rather than if they were real or not. So can you tell us a little bit more about your take on UFOs?
I can, yeah. So basically the context for my bringing this up is while I was at UC Irvine, I got to take a class called UFOs in America. And, that just really stood out. On the course descriptions, I was like, okay, a class about UFOs, like that's pretty crazy. I want to, check that out, see what it's about.
That's awesome.
I got like an anthropology credit for it, so it fit for what I needed anyways. But basically, I show up to the first day of class, and our professor explains that the class isn't going to be about, whether or not UFOs are real. He said, on the last day, I'll tell you my opinion, but that's just my opinion. And, until then, we're just going to be discussing the belief, like the idea of UFOs. Why do people believe in them? Is it a cultural experience? Things like that. And, in the end, he kind of touched on like his own personal experiences. And he did have like a interesting supernatural experience, if you want to call it that. But ultimately, I believe, whether or not there's something out there, we have a culture that exists, in the United States of people who believe in, in UFOs, in aliens, in extraterrestrial life. And the particular class that I took was fascinating because it followed this book where a researcher did an ethnography on this place called the Little Ailey Inn. And let me see if I can spell that.
I've been there actually. Go ahead and research it. But my experience, this was awesome. And I'm going to have to say this, okay? Because again, I'm kind of dating myself, but I've attended Rio Hondo College. And a lot of people don't know that we had professors that were really inclined to take students on road trips, not road trips, but more like excursions, right? To locations, field experiences. And one of them was our professor for astronomy who took us actually to Area 51.
Wow.
And so I was one of I wasn't the driver. I was just a student at the time. And we went right close to the border of where the gate is. And, it's funny because we actually can view from the hilltop 2 white Jeeps sitting, like just watching us from a distance. And, I had my binoculars. I was so super excited for this class. And we had, I think, 2 or 3 vans with us. And we were like on the desert floor. And and as soon as we were like sitting there, we were the same color type of vehicle as they were. And I feel like, they might be threatening. So they started driving towards us, our direction, and we hit a U like you can't believe, and we were just booking it out of there. So one of our stops was towards Little Alien, which is a little cafe or a little like bar located in what's the name of the location? Is it?
I just looked it up. It says that it's in Alamo, Nevada.
Nevada. Okay, go ahead. Did you find what you were looking for?
I did. I wanted to bring up the alien in particular because that was what basically this book that we read was following. Were some of the folks who had stayed there, and ultimately, like the class kind of concluded that UFO experiences are the, I guess, projection of fears that individuals have onto a unique circumstance. So, perhaps, you're out in the woods in the middle of the night or whatever it might be, and you see something that's confusing to you, something that doesn't make any sense. And, as humans, we have to apply our system of meaning to make sense of whatever it is that you're seeing out there. And for a lot of folks, I think, according to the class, and it has been a little while, so forgive me if I get any of this information wrong, internet, please, feel free to fact check me here. Basically, this concept of the UFO, that we have in our heads now, the silver flying saucer, didn't start to arise until the Cold War, because there was all of this new nuclear technology that the public wasn't necessarily familiar with until then. And because of the Cold War, because of all the pressures around mutually assured destruction and the fear that caused, people began, projecting this concept of a flying saucer. And again, I could be misconstruing this information. It has been a little while. I'm so sorry. But I think ultimately it's really fascinating to think people in strange situations where they don't necessarily fully comprehend what's happening will, project this idea onto it. And, in the context of this class, it was UFOs. But then I think about, other experiences that I've had in my life when I think perhaps, I've seen a ghost or something. What really was that I was seeing, but my brain convinced me it was a ghost. So I don't know. Ultimately, my roundabout explanation, humans are bad sources of information, and we tend to, misconstrue evidence.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like, how we put different meanings for different things. Like if you're bad during Christmas, you're not going to get presents and stuff. Like we put different meanings towards that. Because I remember going to an Indian reservation, and they believed in UFOs and all that. That if they did certain things will happen in cultures. And they had certain dolls that they called Kachina dolls, and they would use them to scare kids in some cases, or they would say, I would hear all these crazy stories about them, and like I was like, well, there could be an explanation and stuff, but like it kind of saying like you're saying, like people, we don't know like what it could actually be, or like we're just imagining it maybe. Like I'm not saying like I believe in all that or not, because like there's just so many different opinions, but what makes it worse is there's people that make fake things, and then that makes people think and scared more. Yeah.
So what was your professor's response at the end of this quarter at UC Irvine, right?
Yeah, quarters. Dang, that's a good detail to keep track of. That's impressive.
Right?
I'm trying to recall now. He talked about an experience that he had. He's an anthropology professor, and had gone out to, basically, in order to get your PhD in anthropology, you have to do like an ethnography or a field study where you go and you stay with a group for an extended period of time, typically about a year, and then write about the experience and write about their culture in the anthropology like terms and like the proper, I suppose, way of writing that you will, as different fields have. And he had gone out to this site, I think it's in like eastern US, kind of in like a more foresty area. And I'm totally butchering the story, and it's not my story to tell. But
yeah, I get you.
Basically, you go out to this point and you look in the distance and you see like these balls of light that are just kind of like moving across the forest. And so he went out there and he said that like, he shut off the car and then like was walking around, and then like all of a sudden he started to see all of these lights and stuff, and it was like incredible.
They call them orbs.
Yeah, orbs. He was seeing all of these orbs.
Orbs.
And
Orbs. How you say it?
he ended up qualifying the story by saying he believes that it was actually headlights from cars passing on like an oncoming highway, and it was just like the angle in particular that one spot in the forest had where it viewed the road that made it look like orbs rather than headlights. So ultimately, I think the question is, is he convincing himself that it wasn't supernatural, or is he convincing himself that it was?
And what's your take?
All right, I figured this would come up.
Yeah.
I thought about it.
I can't wait. I'm excited.
Because Nadia and I, we've had many conversations and discussions about UFOs, and we're always bouncing back thoughts and our beliefs and stuff. So yeah, definitely it's gonna come up. So
I'm open to the concept of aliens, of the supernatural. I went to the Whaley House in San Diego, which is a famous historically haunted site, and I didn't see anything when I was there, but I was open to it. I was like, okay, I want to go. I want to see stuff. I didn't see anything.
I had experience with that.
Oh, you've been there too?
Yeah. Like I didn't really think too much about it, but I noticed like the people that were with me that did think too much about it, they're like, oh, like I'm feeling a headache and everything, but I didn't really see anything happening, like that's all. But go on, what you're saying.
So ultimately, I think the universe is so vast that it's most likely that there is some sort of extraterrestrial life that doesn't exist on Earth. I don't know that it necessarily takes the form of the silver flying saucer or little green Martians. I don't know. I certainly hope that we're not alone in this vast universe. I think it would be interesting to have other life out there. But if we truly are the only living sentient creatures in existence, then I don't know. I find that kind of sad. I wish that there was other stuff to interact with, other stuff to learn about.
So if you did find out there was another human, like we call them aliens or supernatural, what would you feel about that? Right. Would you feel terrified, or would you feel okay with it?
I think I'd feel okay with it. I'm sure there would be, if maybe it depends on the context. If we're just chilling and then all of a sudden there's like a spaceship in the sky and they're like, all right, we're going to destroy Earth. I'd probably be pretty scared.
That would be scary.
But I think if we, had access to or if let's say aliens communicated with us or something, I would be excited about that. I think it would be a really fascinating thing. I think learning is one of the best parts about being human, and so if there's more for us to learn about out there, then I say I'm all for it. I certainly hope there is.
What about you, Nadia? What's your take
On this story, or just the whole opinion? If there was
just the whole opinion?
Just the whole opinion. I mean, if there is obviously we have so many stuff going on in the universe, and we haven't explored everything. Especially on Earth, we haven't explored our entire ocean and everything because we don't have the technology to do it. But I'm pretty sure. I mean, how everyone's handling just the pandemic alone, I feel like there would be people would be terrified. They would go, "Oh my gosh, I don't believe it." But my opinion is I would be okay with it, but I would be kind of scared because it's unknown to us, because all we've known is here's Earth, here's the moon, here's the sun. We know we have planets. That's all we know. We have an ocean. Yes, we have creatures that extinct and everything, but we don't know exactly, especially what happened before. Especially with our polar ice caps melting right now, we're finding things that we haven't found in a long time. And I think that would be pretty interesting. That's my opinion on it.
Gracie?
Hi. Sorry, I've been pretty quiet on this. I'm just really listening. I kind of have maybe two things to say about this. One was Jake you made a comment, and it was how people believe what they want to believe, in a sense, their own reasoning to it. And I kind of thought about it because me and my brother had a conversation with, what if aliens were our creator? What if we actually kind of were a test subject from the aliens, and they kind of threw us on Earth? And because there really is we don't really know who the first person on Earth was. So it's kind of well, maybe they kind of created us and just threw us here, and we think we're the only ones because we are all we know, aside from everything else. So me and my brother had an interesting conversation about that one time, and it kind of stemmed for a few days. So we were kind of bouncing back and forth on that, and it kind of had me thinking, you know what? Maybe what if that is true? But it's just an interesting thing to think about. My second comment is, I think I'd actually be open to the fact that they do exist. It's actually really interesting because you have people thinking, oh, there's no way that they can exist. They don't exist. This and that. It's all a myth, right? But then it's everyone has their own culture and everyone has their own beliefs. And it's well, there's no evidence of it. So how can you discredit an alien if you don't really have proof of your own? Yeah, it's just really interesting to think about and kind of keep pondering, and you can lead to a whole bunch of different thoughts. But again, everyone's entitled to their own beliefs, and that's mine.
Nice. Thank you. My take, actually, well, if you, I started actually reflecting on everything that you all have been talking about, taking astronomy, really looking into the possibilities. Now, for me, I always say, in this universe, the possibilities are endless. Okay. We were created in some way, shape, or form, whether you take the anthropological viewpoint or genetically, how do you say, genetically created viewpoint. You got to understand, if we can be created, and I don't know if any of you had any background in astronomy, but there are millions of galaxies that contain in our own galaxy, about 3 million to 6 million stars with surrounding planets. So you can only guess the possibility that there could be other life on other, planet systems. And just, as I guess you could say, it's evident now because here we are. We just had our Mars rover land on. Yeah, last was it?
Last
wasn't
night?
today.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Was it Perseverance? Was it called?
Yeah, it was Perseverance. I was that's such a cute little name.
Perseverance, exactly. And obviously we are actually input how do you say, financing, these in discovery of other lives that could have been existed in Mars. So if you think about the amount of power energy put into the search for other extraterrestrial life, there's something out there that we might know that could actually exist. And that's what I'm just saying. Knowing that all the studies they've done in biology, where we have what they call, I don't know if you've heard of the water bears. What is their they have their scientific name. Do you know?
I'll look it up. I know what you're referring to, though.
Yeah, and I would say it all the time. I just now I forgot. But
I got it. It's tardigrades.
Tardigrades. There you go. Tardigrades. And they can actually survive in very how would you say
Harsh climates.
Yeah, there you go. Extreme climates. And yeah, they can actually supposedly they can survive in space, because they can I don't know if they create their own little spherical shell, or they can lie dormant for a long period of time and then reanimate. But that's something interesting. So like for me, when it comes to possibilities, it's endless. I'm open to it. And just I feel like just with people, there are people with bad intentions and good intentions. So I feel like, why wouldn't any alien life or life other than our own have those same intentions? Again, sometimes it's for survival, sometimes it could be for control, who knows? But that's my take. Last thing I want to say, do you all have any favorite alien movies that you've seen?
Paul's my favorite alien movie.
Paul?
Nice, I've seen that one. It's like a comedy, right, Paul?
It's not serious, but it's just funny.
Yeah. Well, the first ones that come to mind, of course, are like Aliens and then like Star Wars, technically. But I will say, if I'm going down for favorite alien movie, it's got to be Cloverfield, like the original Cloverfield movie, found footage one. I don't know. I'm still waiting for a follow up to that. I know they've had like the spiritual successor ones, or like the ones that are technically in the same universe. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to see what happened in New York. What happened there?
How is the story?
I care a lot about Cloverfield.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
It's how.
Gracie, do you? I know Gracie's really into like romantic comedies.
Yeah,
but,
this is like nowhere even near up my alley.
Not even like an alien meets someone.
Until they make those kind of movies with aliens, I'm gonna have to say no. I'm gonna have to say I don't have one.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Another list for your bucket.
We'll see about that.
Another item in your bucket list.
We'll see about that. I really stick to my romantic comedies. Please, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll stay in that zone.
Any romantic comedy alien movies? I know there are some. Like, oh, who did?
I did. I was
Nadia?
just like,
oh, okay, sorry.
Meets anyone?
I don't even know.
What about Superman?
Does he
There
count?
you go.
Yeah, he meets
Well,
Lois
I guess
Lane.
he does count. I don't really care for Superman though.
Oh, he's an alien.
Okay, let me rephrase that. I don't really
Superman's
care for, honestly. But I think Batman is just a little bit more overhyped than Superman because he's technically doesn't really have anything.
Batman.
I mean, they should count that Batmobile, but I don't know. The Batmobile versus being able to fly. No.
well, for me, I would say that, and like I said, I love many alien movies. From Predator to Carl Sagan's, what's that one with? Can't believe I forgot that. I forgot that movie. Anyways, there's so many alien movies out there. I actually
Contact?
Paul. What's that?
The Twilight
Contact?
Contact. That one.
Sorry, Nadia. I didn't mean to talk.
That was a good one.
That's fine.
But yeah, like I said, I've seen so many alien movies, but I have to say that what really kind of caught my eye in the very beginning when I was a little kid was Aliens. So with Sigourney Weaver, that did it. That was it.
I thought you were
and I like how they did the prequels. So like, Prometheus and Alien Covenant. Oh, that was awesome. Like I needed to know where that started. Anyways, so I just want to say thank you, Jake, for taking the time to be here with us.
Albert, Gracie, Nadia, Priscilla, thank you all so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I can't hear you. Are we having
Are we?
technical difficulties?
I mean,
Am
I can hear him.
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, is it just Albert?
I hear you.
Yeah. I hear you. It's just
Ooh.
Albert that can't hear you.
Yeah, slight difficulties.
I can hear you
Can
perfectly.
you hear us now? Everyone
Are we
compliment
gonna
Albert
add
while
this
he can't
to
hear us.
We can't hear you, Albert.
Yeah, yes, it's you. In the chat, you. I misspelled up. That's fine. Can I like take over his role? Are we gonna put this into a blooper segment?
Or be like, I am Albert. I am L-Beats.
Alrighty, I'll probably take over. Hello. I'm just kidding.
Hello, Gracie.
Go,
Hello,
go,
Jake.
go.
Hello, anyone there?
Oh, now we're back.
Yes, can you hear us?
Gracie took
No,
your spot.
wait a
She was
second.
doing good.
Yeah, you're replaced.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Okay, hold on.
I don't think he can hear us still.
Okay, obviously she's gonna edit that one out. Are you still
fine.
there?
Yes, we're all
Can
still
you hear
here.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, yes.
Anybody there?
Yes, we're
my
here.
God.
Aw,
Testing,
What happened?
testing.
this whole thing went
Something
off
just
so
went-
I
well.
know,
Completely
Albert.
wrong here.
Albert.
Oh, there you are. What happened?
Hello?
Can you
All
hear
right, we're
us?
back.
Uh-huh.
And
All right,
3,
we're
2,
Oh, yeah.
1.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Well, our time is up, and I would like to thank Jake for taking the time to be here with us. Would you like to give a shout out to anyone, Jake?
Well, I mean, first of all, Albert, Gracie, Nadia, Priscilla, thank you all so much for having me. I appreciate you wanting me to even come speak on the show. I'll give a quick shout out to my friends Billy and Drake. But yeah, thanks again for having me.
Yes, actually, if
Awesome.
you like, you can always ask them to follow us. Any last words from our crew?
Thank you for coming on, Jake. We hope we didn't scare you away. We hope Albert didn't scare you away.
Not at all. I hope I gave you all good. Sorry,
I
Gracie,
think it
what'd
might
you
be a
say?
slight lag, but maybe we can bring you back for a part 2 or something because this was a really great conversation.
Yes.
I couldn't really contribute much, but I love listening.
All right.
Yes, we want to hear more about candles.
I'm right there with you.
We could do a taste test. I'm just joking.
I don't know if I have too much more to go on about candles. I got to get
Oh,
some
man.
more between this time and next time.
Oh, what?
Yeah. A candle taste test.
Albert left Discord.
Oh, someone
Does that
accidentally
mean
left
to do a
the
retake?
Discord server. Albert left Discord.
Oh, woo! We're back. Okay.
If you would like to share your story and would like for us to post it on our social media, send your story or comments to priscilla.mendoza9894@my.riohondo.edu. And stay tuned for our first submission by Amy Doyo, a Rio Hondo alum.
Alright, hello everyone. This is our art piece segment, and today's artwork is provided by Amy Doyo, who is a Rio Hondo College alumni. Today she provided us with 2 artworks, and I will be talking about one of them while Priscilla talks about the other one. So today's artwork is California Fires of 2020. Her medium was oil on canvas, and her dimensions were 16 inches by 20 inches. Her inspiration came from what she was living through along with the California fires that broke out in 2020. She mentions that even though she wasn't very close to these fires, she still felt and witnessed the effects of them. And during this time, there were poor air qualities and the skies were filled with smoke. She said that she'd find thin layers of ash on her porch, and that at that moment, she realized she needed to document this time in California history through the use of her art. And now you will be hearing about the second artwork from Priscilla Mendoza. Priscilla?
Hi everyone, so I'm doing the second piece. The dimensions of this art piece is 16 by 20 inches, and it's a medium oil on canvas board. Her inspiration for this art piece is, unfortunately, she had lost a family member, who took his own life, and this was a piece that was really helpful because it helped her cope and express the emotions that she was going through. So another constant source that drew inspiration from her was music. Specifically when she was making this painting, she was listening to a song called Goodbyes by Georgia Smith, and there's this verse in the song that stood out to her and captured her emotions of the new reality she was in. So I will be putting it up. So these are her words. She states, "I hope my work will not only inspire other artists, but also inspire other people to connect to their emotions and creativity and express it through arts." So thank you, Amy Doyle, for sharing your work. We really appreciate it. Your work is amazing. So if any of you are experiencing death of a loved one or anybody that you know, I highly suggest that you attend one of the student health and psychological service support groups. There is a coping and connecting support group for anyone managing anxiety and depression. There's one titled Grief, Loss, and Beyond. It's for students dealing with death and loss due to COVID-19 and other circumstances. So I suggest that you guys attend one of these to help you cope through whatever you're experiencing. Thank you. Now here's Gracie talking about our VIP workshops and our talent recruitment.
Alright, hi again, this is Gracie and I hope you enjoyed our show along with the art piece segment. Now here's the last of our updates for you to know. This week we have our Violence Intervention Program, VIP for short, providing us with another event on March 4th called Men in the Movement. This will be from 11:30 a.m. to 12:45 p.m. These workshops are very informational and they might even help you out. So don't be shy and come and join, because if you do, you just might be able to win an Amazon gift card. And now once again we have our talent recruitment. We've said this once and we will keep saying it again. We are still looking for talented individuals who would like us to share their art, musical, or dance talent on our social media. This includes original music, poems, lyrics, art pieces, and more. If you have some of that and you would like us to share, please email priscilla.mendoza9894@my.ruohondo.edu. And of course, if it's appropriate, we will post it. And proof of this is obviously because we had our first art submission and, well, we posted it. That's pretty much all I have to say for today. I hope you enjoyed everything we had to offer. And here is our last few words from our wonderful public relations chair, Priscilla Mendoza.
Hey Roadrunners, this is Priscilla Mendoza, your Public Relations Chair. If you would like to be updated on all of our events, please follow us on YouTube at RSG Student Government and Snapchat and Instagram at RSG Student Gov. Listen, connect, express.
I'm Albert Lopez, aka Al Beats. This was a lot of fun. Nadia?
Thanks everyone for joining us, and we hope Jake had a fun time, and you all had a fun time, and we hope Jake will come back. And Gracie?
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, I hope everyone enjoyed the show.
Thanks to our crew and everyone listening, because if you don't know, you won't grow. Catch us next time. So,
listen,
connect,
express. All right, we're good.